and fellow party members, we have found time to come to this press briefing here at the Upnd National Secretariat. We have a few things this morning that we want to talk about. Number one, we want to talk about President Edgar Chagwalungu's concession to defeat. We also want to talk about some of the highlights of the President-elect's speech yesterday. And of course, as you would imagine, the Kwacha appreciation and any other issue that may come from your colleagues, the media. You know, you are the ones who make news. You know what is trending. So we are on hand to respond. On the behalf of the Upnd Alliance, we want, and I want to take opportunity to thank His Excellency, President Edgar Chagwalungu, for his magnanimity to have graciously conceded defeat to the incoming President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. That action by President Lungu has left an enduring legacy of statesmanship on his leadership. That was indeed in keeping with democratic tenets, but did further exemplify a great Zambian tradition of peaceful transitions of power from one political party to another. I'm sure many Zambians were very happy yesterday to see President Edgar Chagwalungu and the incoming president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, shake hands, the style of the new normal. Many Zambians would have been expecting that to have been happening all along. It has happened. It didn't happen for the first time, but after some tension and anxiety in the nation arising out of the elections and the delayed announcements, to see President Lungu finally come through and offer a concession speech and meet his brother, the incoming president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, it was gratified and made all Zambians proud to be Zambian. All Zambians were proud to be Zambian, both those who are local and those who are in the diaspora. That is the Zambia we know, one that is peaceful and loving. And on that score, may I at this moment reiterate by taking opportunity to thank President Edgar Chagwalungu for having facilitated a rather peaceful 2021 general elections. Many doomsayers had predicted this election that it was going to be a bloodbath. President Edgar Lungu made a wise decision to deploy soldiers on the streets of this country that ensured that overzealous political cadres or supporters had no space to orchestrate violence like we saw in 2016 and elections before. That decision by President Lungu was a statesman decision. And for once, you could see that he made a decision in the interest of the nation and not in the interest of a political party or indeed his position. So we thank him for that. This election there will go down in history as one of the most peaceful elections. President Lungu and his administration have therefore continued on this tradition of peaceful transfer. And further, President Lungu has now left a good challenge at the doorsteps of the incoming president, that when it is his time to go, whether 2026 or by God's grace and the will of the people of Zambia 2031, he must live in accordance with the dictates of democracy and the requirements of the law. So he has set a good example. He has led by example as a leader, and we appreciate such kind of actions that has seen our country return back to normalcy of peace. Let me now move on to the speech that was given yesterday by the President-elect, Mr. Upnd. There are certain highlights that already colleagues from the media fraternity have shared with the public that punctuated the speech by the President-elect. And amongst them, yesterday the President-elect spoke about unifying the nation under a genuine umbrella of one Zambia, one nation, and emphasized that it must not be lip service, that you are saying one thing here, what you are doing is another. He promised to walk the talk. And people of Zambia will have to get a checklist to see whether he will do that. And he promised that beginning with his cabinet, the citizens must begin to see whether he is going to come up with a regional cabinet or a national cabinet representative of the entire country. The unity he spoke about yesterday is not something new. He has been at this for a very long time now, talking about unity of this nation, talking about peace. So, the people of this country have been graceful enough to give him the opportunity to serve and actualize what he has been hoping and dreaming it should become a reality. We therefore urge the nation to help him and his administration actualize these virtues under unity. He spoke about the requirements in the civil service, especially, and all other places of opportunity, that the most important qualification will be citizenship, number one. And number two, it will be competence. And competence comes through experience or academic qualification. Those are the vows that will be informing job placement, appointment, promotion. It will be based on merit, meritocracy, so that we move on from this syndicate where for you in the civil service, you are a civil servant, for you to get a job, for you to get promoted, you need political affiliation more than academic qualification. That has come to an end now. We must trade on fair grounds. If the opportunities are limited, those who get them, it must be on merit, and everyone else who does not get something out of it should see that it is out of limitation of opportunity and not political affiliation. And on that score, we wish to state that we are aware that there are many people who supported this movement. Some of them were supporting primarily that once this party or alliance forms government, I will get this favor and that favor. It won't come. It won't come. There will be no favoritism. It will be based on fairness, quality, equity, and justice. The president-elect also spoke about the need to end political violence in the country and emphasized that both PF, Upnd, and any other political party and the affiliates thereof, you will be treated equally. You will be treated equally. And he said, you know what I mean? He meant there is now a return to the rule of law where you have supremacy of the law and equality of all citizens under the law, lack of arbitrary action by those in public office, and also respect for and recognition for human rights. That's what he meant. I'm glad to report to you colleagues in the media and the nation that many people across the country have indicated that there is a fresh breath of air, that there is peace reigning in Zambia. People are able to go to intercity, citizens are able to go to any bus stop or market wearing any party regalia, and no one is harassing them. We want to encourage our colleagues in the Patriotic Front not to be scared of any harassment. If you wish to adorn yourselves with your party regalia bearing ECL 2021, feel free and go to any place in Zambia. That t-shirt written ECL 2021, don't burn it or throw it away. It is historical. It will remind you that you once belonged to the Patriotic Front, a party that ruled this country for 10 years. It is historical. So feel free, because the president-elect has indicated zero tolerance towards political violence. And on that score, I wish to sound the warning, which I already use this word, warning. Can't be warning citizens, but today I'll use it. A warning to those who want to take advantage of this transition to acquire Upnd party regalia and begin to wear it in order to orchestrate criminal activities. There will be no sacred cow. Whether you are wearing UPND regalia, if you commit acts of criminality, that has nothing to do with politics. It's criminal. The law enforcement agencies will deal with you in accordance with the law. No politics involved. President made it very clear yesterday, you do such, you will be on your own with the law. So that message, we're appealing even to our supporters, must begin to sink in them. And the president said this because he realizes the enormity of the occasion and the work, the grandiose work to be done ahead. He is cognizant of the fact that he has received an unprecedented mandate in recent political history of this country to win by more than 1 million votes, even before you include the biggest constituency in Zambia, Mandevu. That mandate, him and his team do not take lightly. It is a loud voice from the people of Zambia to say, do what is right now. That is how we are interpreting it. Do what is right. And that huge mandate also is a warning to HH and to the UPND alliance to say, do not allow cadres again take center stage of your leadership. That's how we are interpreting it. Therefore, our cadres must understand that they were at the center of creating this change, but this change was made possible by the people of Zambia, and they are the ones we are going to listen to. We therefore are appealing and keep on appealing. We keep on appealing to our supporters, those who are cadres, those who were thinking that once HH takes takes government, once the alliance takes government, we are going to seize Intercity. We are going to put UPND flags like I've heard they've done at Intercity. All those UPND flags will be brought down. All bus stops and public places are not a political party secretariat. If you want flags, come and put them outside the UPND secretariat. Here, those are public places which we do not want to politicize. We do not want people using party regalia to shield themselves from amenability of the law. So those who want to take advantage of this transition must know there is no power vacuum. We're appealing to law enforcement agencies to be on hand. They belong to the state apparatus. That is a going concern, unlike a political party that comes in and goes out. The state is there, police are there. We are appealing to them to take charge. We are aware that in some few instances, some cadres have taken over some bus stops, some markets. We want you to know that those are temporary takeovers. Those are temporary takeovers because the council are coming to take over the markets. They are coming to take over the bus stops. We are aware that there are many people there who have been making a living out of patronizing bus stops, patronizing markets. They have been making a living for years. We are aware. And that we will not just want to throw you away because there is police who can come with guns and batons. No. Wait a minute. HH is soon beginning to unpack his economic recovery plan and economic management plan. Therein lies some of the opportunities that will be created for those who may have expected to be patronizing bus stops and markets, but they will not. So we appeal for patience from our youth, and everybody must understand that although some people are making a living out of patronizing those bus stops and markets, it was illegal. It was illegal. We therefore do not just want to bring the council to run those markets because it is our policy. No, it is the law. There is a law governing bus stops and markets in this country that prescribes already that such should be run by the local government. So we are not reinventing the wheel, we are just restoring the rule of law. That's all we are doing. So, for those places where this harassment or possible violence could have taken place before the president-elect spoke or after he spoke, please, this must stop now. This must stop now. We meant it when we said it shall be rule of law, not rule of men. The markets and bus stations and other public trading places should be left to the council, and we're asking the councils across the country to proactively prepare to swiftly move in to take over these public utilities and be able to generate revenue in order to fund their functions, and most importantly, providing a service to the public. We do not want monies supposed to go to the government for public service delivery to be going in individual people's pockets whose main qualification is political violence or political affiliation. That has come to an end. The president yesterday, the president-elect, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, yesterday also highlighted in a very succinct manner his approach to the fight against corruption. He said his administration will have zero tolerance to corruption. And for those of us who have worked with HH for the last 16, 17 years, we know what he means. He means zero tolerance to corruption. And so, the culture of talking about zero tolerance to corruption, and on the other hand, you are watching corruption thrive within your touching distance, is now history. We want, therefore, again, to appeal to both public service workers and workers in the informal sector, the private sector, those providing the public service, that this crusade against corruption We have no sacred cows. We are returning to the zero tolerance attitude of the Mwanawasa New Deal administration. That is where we are going. So, those who have had a tendency of benefiting out of public resources fraudulently or dubiously because of misinterpreting President Edgar Chagwa Lungu's statement to say ubomba muibara aliya muibara. You misinterpret that to mean you are now encouraged to plunder public resources. That is now history. Let us live within our means, and this administration is coming to improve the conditions of service of civil servants and even private service workers. Because we are aware that some of the things that tempt these workers to indulge in illicit activities such as corruption is poor conditions of service. Yet when you look to the leadership, them they are living a luxurious life. So, zero tolerance towards corruption. And further, within the grand scheme of things, the administration of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema and the Upnd Alliance intends to further refine the Anti-Corruption Act to bring it in line with the modern requirements of fighting corruption genuinely. And amongst the things that we intend to do is to redefine the definition of who is a public officer and who is a state officer as contained in the Anti-Corruption Act. Because presently and conveniently, the Anti-Corruption Act defines constitution office holders as state officers, thereby excluding them from amenability of the law that relates to abuse of authority of office. Abuse of authority of office, therefore, only encompasses public workers and not constitution office holders. Yet, they are the ones who make decisions. So that is going to be looked into as one of the things that we intend to look at. The President-elect yesterday also spoke about ending political impunity. We have seen what has happened in this country before. Political impunity. Simply putting on a t-shirt written ECL or getting a chitenge for PF and you put it on a dashboard, even if your vehicle has no number plate, even if your vehicle has no tax, you'll be driving, no one will stop you. You brand a vehicle in ECL, even if such a vehicle has questions, no one will stop you. The President-elect wants that political impunity to come to an end. Citizens should be citizens. There should be no citizens who must be superior to other citizens. The President-elect emphasized, you will be treated equally. This political impunity extends to the way we address each other as citizens. There has been too much hate speech in this country recently, divisive language, tribally inclined speeches without caring about the feelings of the people you are referring to. Yet we are all citizens under one proud flag and the motto, one Zambia, one nation. We appeal to those who are associating themselves with this a people's victory, that this is not time for retribution, for you to begin to use language of the vulgarity that we saw with the outgoing administration, where a chopper is assigned to an individual to go and evangelize and preach tribalism and division in the country. This is not time to pay back. Because if we do the things that they did to us, there should have been no need to change. That is what the president emphasized yesterday. We want a new beginning. Let me also respond to something that I have seen on social media. A lot of commentaries, a lot of citizens are saying, we have given you a clear mandate. We do not want you to taint your leadership with those people who are in PF. You bring them to recycle them. Again, they start leading us. The same people rejected. I think colleagues from the media, you agree that that question is there. And I want to say, Zambia is for all of us. Everyone will participate. But this is a time for the Upnd Alliance members to lead. Unfortunately, fortunately so, this alliance has done what no party has done in the last 20 years or more. From 2001 elections, this is the first time to have a party having members of parliament in 8 out of 10 provinces. Massive representation. And even in the 2 provinces where the alliance didn't get members of parliament, are they even 2? It's 1, isn't it? It's 1 province. It's 9. The alliance has members of parliament from 9 out of 10 provinces and only 1 province. And even in that 1 province, when you look at the presidential vote, it is votes from such provinces that made HH win. The presidential vote was uniform across the country. In many constituencies, you find that the candidate may fail to go through. Another candidate wins from another affiliation, but the presidential vote will either go up or will be the winning vote. So HH has a national mandate, contrary to doomsayers who are saying he is representing a rich. He has a clear national mandate. And from that national mandate, we call for maturity in the language we use towards each other. What is going to define us going forward is the unity, the love and peace we demonstrate in this country, because those are the firm foundations upon which today we have now inherited a new Zambia arising out of a peaceful election. It is the foundations that we found. And the duty now has been bestowed on the Upnd Alliance leadership to bring the nation together. But talking about it alone is one thing. We are asking the rest of the nation to look at each other genuinely, like you've always done, as brother and sister, as friends, as one Zambia, one nation. We are aware that this disunity and division in the country has been promoted by a clique of politicians who could not compete on the basis of ideas, rather thriving on division, hate speech. The people of Zambia have rejected that notion in very loud and clear terms. And for us as an alliance, this is not time to be laughing at PF. Because now if you ask me, why did PF lose the election? They had no message to the electorate. The only message they had was HH, arresting HH, preventing HH from using Zambia's airspace. Those were their activities. He arrives at the airport, 4 hours, he's negotiating entry into a town. Those were the messages that they had. So, for those of us, those of you who supported this movement, let's be an example ourselves. Let's be the change we wanted ourselves. Let's be the Zambia we wanted ourselves. By expressing love to those people who are in PF, they should not feel unsafe. They should not feel that they are in a different country. They don't have any other country they can run to. They only have one country they are proud to belong to, called Zambia. So let us embrace them. The president summarized this that I have been saying by saying, love conquers hate. So, we expect those who support HH and the alliance to follow him. Because that's what he said. He said, me as HH have been arrested 15 times, I've been brutalized, I've been tear gassed, but I harbor no grudges towards my brothers and sisters who occasioned this upon me. So the question is, who is any one of us to be harboring hate towards our friends in PF? Leave them to trade where they were trading in markets. Leave them to trade where they were trading wherever in any public space, except to patronize bus stops and markets as a political entity, receiving illegal levies from citizens that this administration is saying no to. So, the idea of allocating market stores, market stands on the basis of political affiliation, no. No one should grab a market store from someone who was pro-PF because the Upnd alliance has won. We have now taken over. It is illegal. If you report it, you are on your own. Let me conclude by assuring the young people who I think are hating like anybody else that this huge mandate you have given HH is written all over with the signatures of young people looking for jobs and other opportunities. The president-elect yesterday indicated him and his team are equal to the task. Allow him to begin to unpack his economic plan. To the students and the young people across the country, we thank you for your support, for your resilience. We thank you for guarding the vote and ensure that this time a people's will prevailed. The students who have been an additional voice to speak for the voiceless, we shall give you back your freedom to be able to speak your mind freely. As a student union such as Unzasu, Nipasu, Kobusu, those institutions are coming back at full strength to speak for the voiceless. And no one will interfere with them, because they help to keep a government in check. We don't want our students to become cadres, patronize institutions of learning, making them cadres. No, those are intellectuals from whence leadership must come from. So don't make them cadres, make them leaders. We want them to become leaders by leading institutions of learning in a manner that depicts them being leaders and not cadres. And for those who have graduated and have gotten employed, we know that the moment you get employed, if you're on a student loan, government moves in to begin to tax you, to cut back the money they lent you as a loan. We will restructure that. As a takeaway home, you will know that this administration is coming to give a grace period that once you graduate, you're on a student loan, you get employed, you must be given a number of years before government must ask you to begin to pay back so that you can settle down, set up a family. Family is the smallest unit of governance. You can't have a government if you can't have a family. So we're coming to look into those issues. So I've ended, but I can't end without talking about the kwacha. I've just come out of town. I've just come out of town, and as I speak right now here, the dollar has begun to tumble against the kwacha. The kwacha has begun to steadily appreciate against the dollar and other major convertible currencies. I visited about 3 banks and bureau de change. The kwacha is hovering about and below 19 kwacha. These are market sentiment reactions to the election of HH and the Upnd alliance. And during the campaigns, when HH said the moment we are sworn in at 10 hours, at 14 hours the kwacha will begin to appreciate, he was being taken to task and being accused of being a liar by people who do not understand how business, institutions react to a government or a regime that is in place or that is about to take government. You have seen for yourself. Even before HH is sworn in, the kwacha has already begun to appreciate. The business houses are now already in place, making the right investment portfolio choices. They are beginning to realize that here comes an administration with a leader who will have clear and consistent policies that will make our businesses not just survive, but grow. So that we create opportunity for young people to be employed. We do expect the kwacha to continue to be buoyant and bullish against major convertible currencies, and we hope this will rapidly, take off once HH is sworn in. So you can see, already if we take a checklist of what we had promised we are coming to do, there are low-hanging fruits that the citizens have already begun to harvest. Number one, we promise end to political violence. Already you can see the freedom that is all over. So that one has been already achieved within a day, even before being sworn in. Just say, wait, do you need money for that? No, you need political will. Political violence, political cadreism, that I can't say it has ended because we are yet to see. As we are honest people. The president has said, if you involve yourself in political cadreism, you will be alone. Having political cadres be on the payroll at ZESCO, all those things will be looked into. Cadre of people who have been to school, on the streets, you get a cadre, you put them on payroll at ZESCO. What drama is that? Ending corruption. You don't need money to end corruption. You need political will. These are low-lying fruits, low-hanging fruits. Political impunity. The president said yesterday very clearly, the president-elect, those who are UPND, those who are PF, and any other political party will be treated equally and fairly. I think everyone agrees that now, today, there is a new breath of air in Zambia. At least there is freedom. We haven't yet gotten, what this change was meant for, which is economic recovery. That is the main agenda. But these things that have been plaguing people, annoying Zambians, already on their own, they're vanishing because of a new leadership. And that leadership will always remember at the back of its mind, it did not put itself there. It was put by the citizens. And that's why the president summarized by saying, we are coming to provide servant leadership. We are not going to be bosses, we will be the servants. The bosses are the people, because the government is created by the people. The moment you forget, something happens to you. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Mwendwa, for that seemingly brief briefing. Now, looking at time, there's some fidgeting somewhere.
Yes,
looking at time, we expect this briefing to be done by 12 hours, so we only have less than 20 minutes for that. We're only going to get a few questions. Start from that one. Then Morris.
My name is Jess from Big FM, and my question is based on the rule of law. Yes, we have seen on Saturday, we did mention that there won't be any political retribution to those who were in the previous government. But now there's a public concern or outcry to say, what about those who misuse public funds, those who embezzled our funds? What is going to happen? We understand the core of forgiveness. And what about justice? So I'd like to find out, maybe I'd like to get more clarity from you, what you as a party are going to do concerning the other political leaders who were in the previous regime, who misused public funds and the like, who are involved in corruption.
Thank you. Maurice?
Yes, my name is Osonjo Morris Singala from CDJJ. I would like to find out what the party is doing in as far as curbing the issue that has actually been reported in material. There are some reports in material where people who are perceived to be PF have been beaten up and their shops have been looted. What are you doing over the matter? I would like to find out from you as a spokesperson for the party.
Yes, please.
My name is Prince Galiza. I want to bring it to your attention.
Can you put our phones on silent, please?
I wanted to bring it to your attention that you've talked a lot about political cadres.
Your name, my brother?
Prince Galiza.
Okay.
Yes. You have talked, we have listened, and cadres have heard you. But as latest as of yesterday, we have seen cadres harassing police officers. Those are stories that are circulating on social media. And we are wondering, is it just the matter of you talking about it for the sake of talking about it, or are going to see actions within the shortest period of time? Thank you.
I've seen a hand here.
Any other question?
Edwin, Musanza TV. My question was similar to what he asked, maybe just an addition. In a statement, you had agreed to say some of the UPND supporters or cadres have taken over markets, which you ended by saying soon it will be a thing of the past. But how soon is the soon?
Soon?
You're still waiting for things or something.
Yes, I've seen a hand there.
I'm It's a rider from what my other colleague asked about voting in some places. I think we even saw Isiolo in Kitwe, where some excited citizens voted. So I just want to find out, as a party, maybe out of goodwill, will you consider compensating some of the businesses that have lost property?
Okay, I think you can respond, and then we'll come up with the last questions.
Well, thank you very much, our colleagues. JC, rule of law, embezzlement of public funds. Yes, there's a rallying cry for forgiveness and reconciliation. But those who have embezzled public funds, what about justice? The president-elect yesterday was very categorical about that matter. He said the law will take its course as the law. It shall not be him or any one of us as individuals to begin to pursue anyone. What will happen is simply to remove the political hand that has been interfering with the work of the Anti-Corruption Commission, the work of Zambia Police, the work of Drug Enforcement Commission, and other institutions charged with the mandate to pursue people embezzling public funds. That is all. Leave these institutions to function autonomously. And I can tell you, these institutions, some of them, already have lists of entities that they want to pursue once they are given freedom without political interference. Now, the law that will work, we are not going to rush to Parliament and enact a law to pursue people. Such a law cannot apply retrospectively. It is the laws that are presently enforceable in Zambia. We have the Anti-Corruption Act, we have the Penal Code, and so on. Money Laundering Act, all those are already in place. So if there are people who have committed acts of embezzlement or plunder of national resources, those definitely should expect the law to visit them. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. There will be no trade-off. If you are going to say, let us reconcile, what is reconciliation? Reconciliation is about truth. Reconciliation is about truth and repentance. But I can't speak more because I don't know the mode yet for me to begin to publicly say that it will take, whether first to give a grace period or an amnesty window, that those who know that they did this in the next 2 months or 3, please return, and you will not be followed. Those who will not, of course, the law will reach out to them. And it will not be us saying, no, follow that one. No, follow that one. No. These investigative agencies and security agencies are there, constitutionally created to do exactly what they are supposed to do. But there has been too much political interference. This has come to an end. The president emphasized. So the call for reconciliation should not be misunderstood to say those who stole or embezzled public funds will be left scot-free. That is not the meaning. The meaning is we want to reconcile the nation. Issues that have divided us unnecessarily, we must put them aside and, drive the agenda of unity. You heard the president-elect yesterday said he will dwell more on that which unites us and that which gives value to the nation than those things that divide us and take us backwards. But that is not to say anyone should fear. There is no need to fear. No, there will be no political witch hunt under the leadership of HH. No political witch hunt whatsoever. It will just be law enforcing agencies on their own. And like I've said, because this is what HH stands for. For some of those civil servants who were supporting us, expecting a personal favor, sorry. And if you are a civil servant, you want to appease this administration by throwing away your professionalism through the window, and you want cadre relationship with this administration, sorry. Professionals should be left as technocrats to inform the policy choices of politicians. And politicians, when they enter a public place or a ministry, wherever, they should not be feared. They should just be respected. They shouldn't be feared because they didn't take themselves to those positions. They were elected by people. It is that fear which politicians want to instill in the civil service, which undermines the work of the civil service. We are going to do away with it. If we are friends, we are classmates, we'll continue that friendship. But when it comes to work, maintain your lane of professionalism. I also maintain my lane. And may I also now state, if you are a civil servant, you have a colleague who is in the patriotic front, please feel free to continue enjoying that friendship anywhere, publicly. That era where you are a civil servant, you meet someone who was your classmate or a friend who belongs to the opposition, UPND or any other party, you start running away from them, is over. Civil servants have a constitutional right to hold political opinion. They have that right. It's constitutionally entrenched. They have a right. And no one will be harassed or victimized on account of holding a political opinion. That is constitutional. But when you are at work, work in accordance with the mandate you are given, underlined or underpinned by your technocratic or expert endowment. That is all. We want to end drama in Zambia. Monica, cabin looting, and I think all the other questions from Prince Adrian and Nicole are primarily around that, isn't it? Cabin looting in Matero. What are we doing? First of all, we want to place on record that the looting that has taken place in Matero and other places around the country, and I must state there are few in number, are regrettable. They are regrettable. And anybody who is doing that has no blessings from the UPND Alliance leadership. They are doing it on their own, and it is a criminal activity for which we reiterate our call to the law enforcing agencies to move in. The idea of someone putting party regalia and begin to poke police act according to law. We are aware that some elements who were doing wrong things under the patriotic front are the first ones now running to acquire UPND party regalia to continue their misconduct. We are aware of all this. So we are asking police, please move in. We are not yet in government for us to take decisive action. There is still a government in place. But we know the history where we are coming from. We are asking the police to move in and protect life, protect the liberties of the citizens, and also protect property, businesses. The president-elect yesterday said, if you destroy a business of a colleague who was supporting PF, are you not destroying employment for a young person or persons who are employed in that business enterprise, which stands at variance with what we stand for, job creation. So all those who are involved, and I'm a UPND lawyer here, I have been all over the country representing UPND supporters who have been persecuted, sometimes arrested correctly. I want you to know that the UPND legal team has no time to represent people who were told, the president said no UPND should loot property. If you loot property, then you are not UPND. Because then you are anybody who can listen to HH who then cannot claim to be UPND. You must be another political affiliation wanting to take advantage of the transition in order to commit criminal element activities. Police must act. That is our appeal to them. The time of police respecting a cadre because they are wearing party regalia is over. There was a question on how soon is soon. How soon is soon that will end this violence? This violence, I said when we started, if it didn't end before the president spoke, and after he spoke, it must end now. And that's why we came here to re-emphasize some of the highlights of what the president-elect said yesterday. And everyone out there, now move forward. You will be on your own. No one will stand for you. So, how soon will this end depends on how the police take action. Presently, we don't have the authority to begin to tell police what they should do. The only authority we have is to request them to act. Once HH swears in, then using that mandate, he will be able to direct them. But what he wants has already been said. So police, please take action professionally. Thank you very much, colleagues. I think all the questions have been. Isn't it?
Yes. Okay, since there's an outcry that we are running out of time and this is 11:54, we close this briefing for now. Yes.
Are you trying to get my attention? I've seen you already. I've seen you already, and after the briefing we meet outside.